show you a tutorial on how to make your own baby hat. The hat I'm going to be making today will fit a baby from about premature to 3 months old, roughly. The hat's super cute and really easy to make. It will take you about 25 to half an hour or faster if you can loom a lot faster than I can. And the hat's going to be knit on a loom. The hat looks like this at the end when you're all done. I'm going to be showing you how to make this today step by step through the video. If you have any questions at all when you're done watching, please ask in the comments below and we'll be sure to reply as soon as we can. Thanks so much. Have fun! The materials you'll need are scissors, a knitting hook, a knitting needle, your yarn, and a 24 peg loom. You actually won't need the crochet hook that I show in this image. The yarn I'm using is size 4. You can find it on the back. I'm going to be using 2 strings of yarn for this project to make it warmer and bigger. So first off, you grab your yarn, and we're going to be making a slip knot. Just tie the yarn twice around your finger, put the back over, and then back over. And then you pull through, and you have your slip knot. Now attach it to your anchor peg, that's the peg on the side of your loom, and pull the 2 ends to tighten it just a little bit to your peg so it won't get loose. Now go behind the first peg and forward. Behind the second peg and forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. You do this all the way around the loom. What you're doing here is you're casting on. This is called the E-wrap. You do this all around the loom until you get back to the 24th peg, and then you hold your yarn on the side of the loom. You can do the next step in any which way you want. I like to put my hand inside of the loom and pull down all of the loops that I have made around the pegs. Once you're ready, and they're at the bottom, you start again. Back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. You wrap the E-wrap all the way around the loom. As you do this, you'll notice there's loops on the bottom of the pegs and loops at the top of the pegs. When you get to the end, hold it again on the side of the loom. But now this time you're going to grab your hook. Take the bottom loop and toss it over the peg. Take your bottom loop and toss it over the peg. You're knitting over. This is what you're doing all the way around the loom. And what you're creating here is your very first row, your cast on. After this point, everything will be pretty much the same, very repetitive. You're now going to push down all of the loops because now you only have 1 on the peg. And then you're going to tie it again. Back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. All the way back around the loom. Now you have 2 loops on your pegs again. And then when you get to the end, you grab your hook and you knit over. You knit over all the pegs every time. Now you're knitting your second row. Every time you knit over, it's a new row. When you get back to the end, you've completed your second row. Now that you've knit 2 rows, it's time to take off the slip knot from the anchor peg. Just take it off with your hook and slip it through the inside of your loom. Now knit 15 more rows. I have now knit a total of 17 rows. You can tell at the bottom I didn't make a rim, but the knitting naturally curls up to create one. This is what I do for newborn hats, as I feel that a big fat rim is a little bit too much for their little heads. So now, with the remaining yarn that I have, I wrap it all the way around the loom, back to the anchor peg, and here I will cut it. That is my measurement for the yarn that I will need to close off and cast off this hat. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take that yarn, both strings, remember you're treating them as one, and I'm going to thread it through my needle, and this is the tool that I'm going to be using to cast off my hat. So start at the first peg. Put your needle through, grab the loop, and pull the needle through. Make sure that the loop comes off your peg. Mine was being a little bit stubborn, so I had to grab my hook. Usually they come off on their own. Now you're going to do it to every peg. Put your needle through the loop, and as you're doing that, take it off the peg. What you're doing here is you're casting off. You're taking off all of the loops off the pegs while still keeping your yarn on it so that you can close it at the end. Because for now, it's still open. Yarn through the loop and off the peg. You're going to do this to all the pegs and all the loops. Here's a close-up. You take the needle. You can notice the pegs have little ridges on them. It makes it a lot easier for both your hook and your needle to go through when trying to grab the yarn. Otherwise, it's really hard to put it through if you have the pegs the other way. Yarn through, needle through, and then off the peg. It's quite repetitive, but that's the nice part about it. You don't really have to think much after you figure out how to do it. So just go all the way around your loom, and as you'll see, the hat is beginning to come off the loom. It may look still open, and it may be still totally not looking like a hat, but once you get to the end, you'll see. Here's the last peg. Knittle through the loop and off the peg. Now you can get rid of the loom. You're done using it. You'll see there is a hole at the top, which you're going to soon close by pulling the yarn. Basically, you have to pull really, really hard. Just pull to close it shut and make sure it doesn't get opened. And as you do that, you'll see that the hat takes its own shape. It almost creates its own little top, and all you have to do is put the needle through a couple of times. I don't really always do it on the same spot. I just kind of pull through to close the hole at the top. You'll figure it out once you get to this point. You basically just want to close the little hole so that your hat never opens up. Then I put the needle somewhere in the middle of the hat through to the inside. And I flip the hat inside out. This is so that the remaining little stitches that I'm going to be doing aren't seen at the top of the hat. It makes you be able to do a lot more and secure your hat without, taking away from the final look of the hat with all the little stitches at the top. So all you're going to do is try and use up that yarn that you have left while continuing to close off the top. At the end, I always make a little knot just in case, and I pull tight. Make sure it's right up against the hat so that it doesn't bother the baby. Then you take your scissors, you cut really close, and you're done. Now you have to turn it back the right side out. And now all you have to worry about now is the slip knot. Just pull it and it should come off. Now what you want to do is you want to again thread it through your needle. I like to cut off the end because sometimes it makes it a little bit easier to thread, even though I always miss it. Once you've threaded your needle, what you're going to do with the remaining edge of the yarn is you're going to knit it through and hide it through the rim. The rim that got made on its own, by the way. There's other ways to create rims, but this is just for newborns and it just makes it on its own. So just hide the yarn through, and when you're done, you can just cut it. Make sure your rim is folded and you finish your hat. Congratulations! You are all done your hat. The options from here on out are pretty endless. You can add a pom-pom to the top, you can add a flower to the side, you can add a ribbon to the rim. You can even try knitting with 2 different colored yarn strings. This will create a neat looking hat with its own pattern. Well, congratulations, thank you for watching, and subscribe!